switched on my mind. Your colors were shining green, yellow, red in the sky. Like after a storm, you gave color.
Carried that pain.
To my
well, who gave it to you anyway? Who can explain? Who brought the rain? What year is it now? If you were cured for this to tell this, describing the spring, for looking at the wall, for the now on the floor, for the chart, for the now the door, for never the hurt themselves, explain that for the importance of what you need to know. That tenacity of the nature, for the enduring, for the past, for the heart, for the tact, for death, the strokes, and this never etching of the tombstone myself, and I can't remember the date. Who died or who even knew? For the what year was it now? For this the pure product, for what does that mean? For the pure isn't obvious, and this is the only find the culture, the ride, and find the virus that was waiting to unleash. The life, prayer, ridiculous statement that was the start for the additive and enough for the everyone to understand the giving up a seeking of joy for the east blue wave and wave of blind to find a piece of blue glow for the great storm for the happiness that never comes from what is the life and I'm finding living for the withering in the sand. Tide that washes you beneath that night for the beach and you can find the life is what the fly looking for the spider web and this will be the day you play flying over hours over the hopper bottom of the plate. Never turn away. Struggle for the this will be the daylight for the this contrast and morning fresh flowers to spring up from hell for this day for becoming an earth is empty and never the collapsing will ever remain. J fly photo into the who knows it but no one but me I can see all that I tried to explain never could put the words across my words and mount the lips and off the fly across the blue deep water for the shore for the wrapping of a scattering of glitter for enough of the farewell for the vast separation to draw you closer reunion to find us all certain. I had my head on my arm and fall asleep with this the eyes of the mother who breathed upon the mountain heart for that to find a dream and now the sun is gone. It was the portrait of life for the fine, a little about it for the strange, the sunset for the laminate for the you could brand it up braided over my portrait for the thick skin skull, this aside the powdered mound of sand for translated for you, for me to your ears and my mouth. Whatever you find an animalistic hum, and this is the red sun that rises into the intent for the shining upon one, for the playing for the children under the sun, for the ashes that was scattered, for the no matter for the how you find the sun, for the finer innermost heart, filled with the oblivion, for the intents of the forest of the winter, for the sea, for the you can have this in category. Catastrophic waves, the strange sea, the sea fish, the blue, the depth of this, the mercury flowers light up that coast, and this the other for the colors, and you can find that then how dangerous it is and well to go to the seafloor, arousing yourself with the thirst in which you can find, and even to you but translated too. I don't want to be transported. Understanding standing underneath you for never having jealousy for this and stand for the so wise enough to be cool for the gazing upon the silly sickness of a fool for you can have the giving love for the adoring hand intimately for the this to understand for the hidden things in which I know for the holiest of dreams and to find the year the still to find about the bold the empty with the graces wrong the wrong legs and this the rosy face and find the beating heart such to the flame of love for the giving to every touch and the move for the wrinkle and secret of you for the life I know I'm waiting for the lover of the finding this in life for this and find the wife for this and love for the clothes and find the fruit for this and meet the Lord the merit the sweat the neck the only face in the eyes you surely will die for the distance to sit up on your nose for the glory I can find the drink you're drinking and wrinkling up with the skin and pretty is enough to turn yourself into strength of fact who's that for the man who's that for who can enough to claim for the must tend to that for the fumbling you're dribbling over once you find rare lips to hang can't find a slobber over the enduring worst thing squeeze enough to fertile love for this assertion of the ear's eyes a human being and I can find what the ball for the open head and clean it for the scrapping of the place and she's forgotten after the finding higher passion dead to dead the rotten music can find me dirty a life free for the light foot more for the heart for the cry to see yourself on the mirror the reflection that comes to you it can be mirror dirty too and I can remind me of you in a dirty place and imagine yourself as a healer for the you can find it working for the palm of my hand my call my chest my eyes my clothes my just my mud and sweeping your hands and this sheath and I couldn't see that bed to lie for the rules invented for the to understand for the what was missing out for the feel like a punishment anyway for the sleep the best the edge and this the healer this side I rest reaching for my hip to hold on for the this about the mouth beside the open this dark not the surprise and healer for the touching me for the neck working a magician beneath that sheet for the you can pull against something away from something's always gone magical no cue for the stress stand who where who's listed at the find the who to find a slipper over the top of this who to rejoice the quiet to let me now stop it that to find a court to find a break chill away enough of the hidden places sleeping the board the paths Made those years be now for the white noise a little bit. The band like H to die for the common traces. You can find the death grip with the right hand to find the crop and crop. That for the much unknown, the known, the other find the dumb, unknown for the days for the dreadful face. It was dreaded, not defeated. This place says the word. Quantify yourself with the voted result. That's the test for your goal. And this is the alligator for you can have the scales and take for the long bridge until it shakes and yawns and yaps the velocity for the cycling of the air. Not that velocity between the poles, the fetch back between the house, to lose to find the plains to feel. This is support for the day, for let yourself for the mercy for the everyday sense and bring it back for the steady and the shine against that time. I'm told one pass counts most, so this is all that must be put down after what define the draws open. So this will be the herb, repair, you present. I can find a present ever ready to lie to tell for the charge of anyone who can take it for a law. The X marks the spot where the Englishman walks. Just a circle for the pumping inside of the bent arms and just the fire, the crack and the fly, the crackles all over the peacock, and you can find a real thing that's started for the enough of the quarrel. Move that magic for the flower to do it. You can find the caveman, the village, the food, or to be the alley for the bring it all for the moon. Dish yourself with a spoon. Democracy should shuffle the play. Who's prepared that for the essential? Do the white stripes, or that the white for the black, the stripes, that the white and the white, the one-tone pair for this the edge of the edginess, and then don't care enough for this to be the underwear. And underwear for thinking somewhere for this to be the only word with some for the nudity. Zero-sum. I can see this for the life of me, would I can find concern for the body, for the anybody for the fret. For this all I can say is done, for the weak should leave. Leave and be for this is all the fun you can have.
Got them saying
It's the railway long before it seen the train. The tracks out to sing the trumpet for the just before you know the direction. The train that comes before the hum. Announced after the soon before the rise. Attend that to the dropping of the four. For the time to the left, the look or right. The steepest of the walk and the line, the balance. And that's to be the rail for the dark. And about the capital for the train ends. And you can find the interior stacked upon the fun and the fair. We're on the way now for the always hid, for the unsure. For this train, you can find a standing next to the tracks, to the flatten yourself for the nail, for the knife, and obliterate yourself for the traffic and cause it by the crossroad. Whistle the battle cry. Steam for the engine of a move, for the not to mess with the anything else to the rail, for that the beginning of the end, for the hoping you're always and come back for this a segment whether for you on, and I can find the temper for the tantrum. Stampede for the clatter, for the matter for the head, for the splitter for the hear us, and I can find the ear for the lion, the green heart, or the purple, or whatever you can find that for we were all equal. None of that for the scene before, for this to be the groom and the custom and that for what you can find the decoration cultivated for the speed for the standard. The bodies of water for the pitch and you can flock from that to shout for that to spin for this to be the only proper repair shop you can find the industry. You can find the meters to free yourself with the horn that blur to trigger the chorus. And this is the step that the piston to fire the mouse. And this is the only word with your worst of fears. And this is the straw for this to drink your arm. Or never with an eyeball in your armor for the trucker. This would be the understanding of who gave that uniform to the permissions you can find the parking of a drawn. Not the whistle for the who's to find the calypso, for the who's to find the digital radio, for the trumpets that still dawn at the dust, and this is the land between the fine and continuous of the contagious, and this would be the borderline that you can never down to find the front portion chased by the rulers for the lions lying down for the lamb of the bark. I should find it with my ears pulled back for you can have the words. Never said word, never said nothing. This would be the dream, you can have it all. Dream for the dead, for this is over the shoulder, for the knapsack that you heard the news, so that you could play the stereo loud, for the howling of the coyotes, and you saw the light outside you below the window for the mother, for that you could see the sun. Sunlight, filling for the falling of off to the small, for this to be the asking the question of who wrote that dream, for this to be the mother for the root you wrote about, for that's the thought, but I know who care, for the calling down for the cotton head, for this to be the whatever you said, for the see, for the hear, where never hear me, never capable of talking yet. This is something that died for the I don't remember, for this is the time they're born yet, for the I can need to suppose, for this to be the username for the to feed the children, you can go home and have food for thought. RIP, carry-on for the place and what I carry. This is more the fear for the world, for the carry the fear for the world, for the chest and over the carry that over the nights I slept, and this is the period enough for the growling and over the licking, over the clavicle, for the clever, the fear of the world, for the apprenticing myself to the where I can become a teacher, or teaching me how to carry myself. For the world to kill the animal for the carry, and this will be the verse, and I can find a gift in this defeat for what the altar left after the walk. Fear for the word and war of the world, and I can protect that for the what you could find in fear. Carry that for the word, old, and I can find the model, the marveling for the keeping my hands still and keeping my eyes and mouth shut for the teeth. Carry myself with the fear for the stroking over the dare to stroke. I find that for the what you carry that terrible all. It was a flaw for the carry my fear for the world for the nuzzle for this to be the taste of me for the part of me for the began to right. I had it right now for the making me. I carry that later on and find it laid at the feet for the good bones, and I could shine to find that life is too short for the delicious and advisories, and you can find that for the world at least, a percent that for the terrible. You could drive by fast as you can to keep this form for the birth, for the stone, for the throne, that for the up of the work. A child that broken bag and this is life is short for enough of the world for the be half mass, and this is stranger for those who want to find and break you for this is the only telling yourself for the decent.
While all the girls sing. Yeah. Ain't no rapper call out here safe.
Ain't no dollar bill
See,
safe
you
out
did
here.
give me blue balls. Rep the series. I didn't think
Ragtag rebel armies of alarming proportions. Grenade launchers, fearless little orphans. Fully dipped flourish who throw the wind caution. Intel operatives who instigate holy wars. Tiptoeing that foot beat you're gonna need to know basis. With derelict new contagious enzymes to play with. Cause a well-educated, prosperous nation is dangerous. Walt Disney Kingdom, where history comes in two flavors. Blood soaked and the blood stains cleaned up with detergent later. Excuse me, Miss Liberty, I don't mean to be misogynist, but put some lipstick on a green lip. Cause the truth ain't a pretty bitch. In the US, even Martin Luther King kept the gun in the crib. So whether you a clueless bastard,
Who carried that pain? Who carried that? Who carried that pain? Well, who gave it to you anyway? Who can explain? Who brought the rain? What year is it now? If you were here for this to tell this, describing the spring, for looking at the wall, for the now on the floor, for the chart, for the now, the door, for never the hurt himself, explain that for the importance of what you need to know. That tenacity of the nature, for the enduring, for the past, for the heart, for the tact, for that's a stroke, to this never etching of the tombstone myself, and I can't remember the date. Who died or who even knew? For what year was it now? For this a pure product, for what does that mean? For the pure isn't obvious, and this is the only final culture for the rotten, to find the virus that was waiting to unmake you. A life, a prayer, a ridiculous statement that was a start for the adamant, for the enough for the everyone to understand the giving up of seeking your joy, for the Easter blue wave and wave of blind to find a piece of blue below, for the great stone, for the happiness to never come, for what is the life, and I'll find a lily for the withering in the sand. Tide that washes you beneath that knife for the beach, and you can find a life is a what the fly looking for the spider web. For this would be the date, flake, five making of his hour for the ceasing over the hollow bottle for the lake. Never turn to white. Perfume the struggle for the this would be the daylight for the this the contrast and morning fresh flowers to spring up from hell for this the day for the coming of the earth is empty and enough of the collapsing will ever remain. Day fly floating into the leaf and who knows it but no one but me I can see. All that I tried to explain but never could put the words to cross my words in my lips and off to fly across the blue deep water for the shore for the wrapping of a scattered glitter but enough of the farewell for the vast separation to draw you closer reunion and find us all certain. I had my head on my arm and fell asleep with this the eyes of the mother who breathed upon the mountain heart for that to find a dream that now the sun is gone. It was the portrait of life for the fine, the little dollar for the strange, the sunset for the laminate for the you can brand it up right over my portrait for the thick skin skull. This is side of powder now the sand for translated from you for me to your ears in my mouth. And whatever you can find an animalistic hum and this is the red sun that rises into the intent for the shining upon one for the playing for the children under the sun for the ashes that was scattered for the no matter for the how you find the sun for the fine innermost heart filled with the oblivion for the intents of the force of the wicked for the sea for the you can have this category. Catastrophic waves, the strange sea, the sea, fish, the boom, the depth of this, the mercurial flowers light up that coast, and this the other for the colors, and you can find that then how dangerous it is and well to go to the seafloor, arousing yourself for the thirst in which you can find, and even to you for translated to. I don't want to be transported or understanding standing underneath you, and never having jealousy for this, and stand for the so wise enough to be cool for the gazing upon the silly stickness of a fool. For you can have the giving love for the adoring hand, intimately for the this to understand for the hidden things in which I know for the holiest of dreams, and to find the yield, the stoop, to find about the bold, the father, and the evil, the graces on the legs, and this the rosy face, and find the beating heart. Such the flame of love that they're giving to every touch and their move, of the wrinkle and secretive you for the life. I know I'm waiting for the lover, other you can find that this is life, and this is find a wife, and this is love of the clothes, and find the fruits of this will be the Lord, the merit, the sweat, the neck, the only face in the eyes. You surely will die for the distance to sit up on your note for the glory I can find the drinking, and wrinkling up with the skin and pretty is enough to turn yourself with strength and fact. Who's that for the man? Who's that for who can? Enough to claim for the must tend to that for the fumbling and dribbling over what you find in rare lips that hang. You can't find a slobber over the enduring worst thing. Squeeze enough to fertile love, and this is search for the theorist's eyes, a human being, and I can find what the ball for the other, the hope the head to clean it, but this is wrapping up the place, and it's forgotten after to find entire passion, dead to dead, the rotten news to find me dirty. A life free for the light foot, pour for the heart, for the cry to see yourself in the only mirror, the reflection that comes to you, it can be mirror dirty too. I can remind me of you in a dirty place and imagine yourself for this, a healer for the you can find and working through the palm of my hand, my call, my chest, my eyes, my clothes, my this and my lungs, and sweeping your hands, and this is sheath and I couldn't see. A bed to lie for the hoops embedded for the dis to understand for the what was missing out for the feeling like a punishment anyway for the sleep that best to edge of this a healer that sat at rest. Reaching for my hip to hold on for the this about the mouth, the side to open this dark to not to surprise a healer for the touching me for the neck and working a magician beneath that sheet for the you can pull it get something away for the something's always gone. Magical, no cue for the distress. Stand who, where, who's listed that to find the who, to find a slipper over the top of this who to rejoice the quiet to let me now stop at that to find a court to find a breaking joy enough of the hidden place to sleep and devoid the past. Made those years be now for the white noise and the fan like age to die for the common trace, and you can find the death grip with the right hand to find the crop that for the much known the other find the done and unknown for the days of the dreadful face. It was dreaded not to be this place as the word. Who carried that pain? Who carried that pain? Well, who gave it to you anyway? Who can explain? Who brought the rain? What year is it now? If you were here for this to tell this, describing the spring for looking at the wall, for the now on the floor, for the chart, for the now, the door, for never the hurt himself explain that for the importance of what you need to know. That tenacity of nature, for the enduring, for the path, for the heart, for the tact, for that's a stroke, for this never etching at the tombstone of myself, and I can remember the date. Who died or who even knew? What year was it now? For this a pure product, for what does that mean? For the pure isn't obvious, and this is the only find a culture for the ride and find a virus that was waiting to unmake it. Life, prayer, ridiculous statement that was a start for the adamant for enough for the everyone to understand the giving up and seeking your joy for the Easter blue wave and wave of blind to find a piece of blue below for the gray stone for the happiness and never